How's it going? This is Davor from Derokki, and in this video we're going to talk about right to left navigation bars instead of Webflow. So I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks of how to make an RTL navbar. So if you have an English Arabic or an English Hebrew website, I'm going to teach you how to do it in Webflow. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into Webflow, and we're going to actually not just do that, but we're also going to copy a navigation bar. So at relume.io/free components, you can copy Relume components into Webflow. And so if you haven't checked that out, this tool is really good. I have the paid plan, but I also want for people who don't have the paid plan to be able to work together with me on this. So I'm going to copy the navigation bar into our Webflow project. And again, this style guide, Derokki.dev/RTLflow, you have the clone style guide button, and this is going to open up. So clone the style guide and work with this, because that's what you're going to need to build RTL navbars, and you're going to see that in a few seconds. So let me go to the body. I'm going to remove the right to left, of course. And so first things I'll do, I'll check out if there's some properties like this, for example, static margin properties, which we're going to replace with margin inline start, like one rem, like this. Then let's see if there's anything else. Probably some thing with the container. No, the rest looks pretty much fine so far. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this whole navigation bar is right to left friendly. We're going to go step by step. So let me check out what happens here. So you can see that the navbar menu buttons have kind of moved a little bit. Yep, that's fine. Let's see the button. That's for the next part, which is the tablet version. Okay. So check out the tablet version, yeah? I want a sidebar to open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this navbar menu. And I'm going to also remove the page height tablet. I'm going to just apply this directly to the navbar1 menu class. 100 dvh. Yeah. And what I will also do, you can see that the absolute positioning is just set to the default state. What I will do is I will go to navbar settings, menu type. We're going to make it overwrite. And I'm going to set a color of white, and I'm also going to add a border on both sides. So, as you can see now, we have a navigation bar that opens up from the side, like this. And probably we have to add some colors here. There we go, let's add some colors like this, yeah. Make sure everyone has a good color. I'll just select black for now. Like this, okay? So, you can see if I open this up, it looks good, okay? Now, if I want to open the same navigation bar on RTL, you can see one thing happening. You can see that the navigation bar, while the elements align to the right side somehow, the navigation bar still comes from the right side. And so inside of Webflow, there's not really a way to change this behavior, because the only thing we have is we have the type override and overleft. And so there's a JavaScript that we need to work on. But first off, I want to also show you here quickly some of the alignments. Okay, you can see here, we want to remove this margin inline start like this. And also we remove this now. And now I think the element should be aligned. Well, here you can see this. So let's see. Let's make sure that when we open up the menu, that we don't actually remove the padding on that side. We're going to remove the padding at inline start again. like this. Okay, good. So now this looks the way it should, and I'll show you how to make sure that the navigation bar menu opens from the right side using the JavaScript attribute. Because if I wanted to align the elements with this position thing, I'll show you what happens. We're now on the RTL side, right? So RTL version. If I had inset inline start, right? Remember that from the lesson about RTL positioning. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. You can see that the element kind of it just moves an inch off the right side. It doesn't really align to the left side. And now if I change the type, you can see that the alignment then works. So it seems that the navbar menu type decides where the sidebar is gonna be landing on the page. So the absolute positioning here doesn't do anything, neither do the custom properties of inset inline. And so the thing that you have to do is you have to just leave it as is, because the side on which the menu opens up depends on this setting. What I'll do now is I'll add a little script. It's going to help us open this navigation menu from the other side. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the RTL elements page, and here I have this little attribute which switches the side of the navigation bar menu opening on RTL. So we're going to use rf-reverse-navbarmenu is rtl-navbar as the attribute. We have it right here in global styles RTLflow. You open it up and it's right here. Navbar open, yeah? So gonna open this in a new tab. And so this is the function. We have two versions, right? The first version is reversing the side where it opens up on RTL. So let's say you have an English version. You have an English-Arabic website. On the English website, you want the menu to come from the right side, which is our example right now. We have our example where you want essentially the menu to come up from the right side if you're on the English version. And then on the Arabic version, we want the menu to come from the left side. So we want to revert the navigation bar once the secondary local is Arabic. Once we're on that, once it's RTL. So primary local is LTR, which means that we're going to use RTL-navbar. Now, if we have an Arabic English website, for example, then we want to use ltr-navbar to reverse the menu on the secondary local, which is then left to right. I hope this makes sense, and you'll see in a second. But essentially what this script does, it checks if the HTML tag has a dir attribute and if it's going right to left. And then based on that, it will reverse the opening of the menu automatically. So that's what the script does. So what I'll do is I will actually show you this using this attribute. So I will copy this over. So we have rf-reverse-navbarmenu, RTL-navbar, okay? So RTL-navbar, okay? I will do also, what I'll do also is I will set the local, there we go, to be Arabic. And right. So essentially what we're now simulating is a secondary local which is right to left, in this case Arabic, right? If I had an English Arabic website on a paid plan, I would set up English and Arabic, and I would still add the attribute to the primary local on the navbar component itself, okay? So right now you can see that the menu is opening up from the other side. Let me actually go here. So you can see there's no direction attribute applied on the body. It all comes from the Webflow local setting. Because the language is Arabic, it sets a dir attribute of right to left on the HTML tag. And so you can see now type is still coming from the right. It should come from the left side, which means now if we activate the script, it should reverse. So if I publish this site now, And let's open this up. There we go. I will open up the console so we can make this smaller. If I click now, you can see that the menu is coming from the left side. And so in the code, I believe we can also check that out. So you can see now that the data animation, it says over left. But in Webflow, we've set the data animation to be overwrite. So the script has basically changed this attribute. Oops, changed this attribute. 1 second, what have I done? There we go. It's basically changed the attribute based on the direction of the site, which as you can see is direction RTL. And that is essentially what this code does. It reverses the type. In this case, it reverses the type from overwrite to overleft if the language is RTL. We can do the same if, for example, you have the right to left language, Arabic as your primary local, and you have the main way how the menu opens up. We can do that too, right? You can open up from the left side on the main language, but then once you get to English, you want it to open up from the other side. Then you would use ltr-navbar. So let's leave this for now. And I want to show you one more thing, which is Webflow has a few native classes, native CSS applied on specific classes. And so if you go to RF global styles, you will have it up here. You have a little bit of code that overwrites Webflow navigation text align left. Okay, and so essentially what's happened is Webflow has applied a text line left on the navigation link, on the drop down toggle, on drop down links, and on tab links as well. If I remove this, I'm going to set it in those brackets. You will now see something happening, which is that even though the direction is right to left, and you see there's no text aligning happening actually, the navbar links will still align to the left side. And even if I open up this drop down, you will see that the drop down links themselves will also align to the left side, even though there's no setting for it. There's no setting for it, right? So again, this is RTL. I can even set it here, RTL, right? And the elements still align like this. And so that's why I wrote this code, to make sure that this doesn't happen. And I will show you on the live side. I will go to that. I will go into the console again. And you can see how this aligns from the left side. If you go into the navbar, you'll see that if you select the overlay, let's find where this is. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So you can see that the w-nav-link as a default is set to text align left for no reason whatsoever. No reason whatsoever, right? So I can of course change it here to text align start, and then this would look the way it should look. But since we can't change the default CSS, which comes, as you can see, this comes from Webflow, we need to override it. And so that's the way I've done it here. I've basically gone in and I've already edited the code for you, so you don't have to worry about this. This has been part of long experimentation, figuring out why the texts don't align the way they should. And there you go, now they align properly. And if I publish this now again, you will see. Let's wait quickly. Okay, let's reload this. See, now you can see that the elements align to the right side, even though we still have this text align left on the nav link here, for example, or on the nav texts. And yeah, I'll go into this here quickly so you can see the details of this. And so that's if you have, for example, other platforms at some point where you want to build RTL sites and you see unexpected behavior. It might be because of the platform giving CSS style sheet, having a CSS style sheet that kind of overrides what the default behavior would be usually. And so that's one case with Webflow where we have this text line left, which we then override with text line start important, which is the custom code that we added into our Webflow project. By the way, we have the same thing with the slide, with the Webflow slider. I didn't actually show you that last time, but if you remove this code and you have a Webflow slider that's going right to left, you're going to see that the text will still align to the left side because W slide has a text line left as default from a Webflow style sheet. So a bit of a deeper dive into the Webflow universe, but I hope you understand the concepts of this. Yeah, again, so to recap, if you want to build a right to left friendly navigation bar, make sure to use all the properties and make them RTL friendly. In this case, margins and paddings, for example. When you align a navigation bar, we don't actually use the CSS panel on the right side. We just use the type over right or over left, which is going to be the default type. And then if we have a different website direction, for example, RTL, then we use the attribute which we apply on the navbar component right here. rf-reverse-navbarmenu is rtl-navbar, and this will change the type depending on the direction of the site. And that is kind of how you build RTL-friendly navigation bars. And of course, I've written a bit of code here to make sure that we override some of Webflow's CSS styles that we don't want to be there. And so that's been lesson 10 on the RTLflow course. The next lesson, we're going to talk about how to convert a date from English to Arabic. And yeah, gonna see you there.